All right, welcome to the Monday Night Men's Forum. I am Matt of Forum Hop Life. This is episode 55, Nightmare Fuel. Tonight we have Christopher of SecureCoop.com, and
Hey.
we had somebody else, and he left. He said he'd be back, so we'll see.
He said he'd be back.
Said he'll be back. So, for those that didn't get my announcement, Jeremy's jumping in here. Oh, there he is.
Where's Jeremy?
So we are moving the men's forum every other week, so I could have more family time. But nobody here should be surprised by that because y'all got the email.
Yeah.
And trying to do more in-person interviews instead of
that would explain
remote
why I
interviews.
sat on hold for like an hour and a half last week.
Are you kidding? You said you weren't available anyways. Don't think I forgot. So anyways, personal events. Go ahead, Christopher.
Yeah. I surpassed 3 years on the carnivore diet. And so
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was. And then I promptly cheated. So to celebrate. Yay. So that was a bad idea. So what I'm gonna do is have you heard of 70?
But what was the cheat food?
Oh gosh, no, I don't want to tell you.
It was a vegetable.
Just awful stuff. Anyway, so
Maybe
I'm
carrot.
doing I have had a pattern of regular cheats, and it's not been planned. And so I'm trying what's called a 75 hard. When you're doing a 75 hard, you go 75 days on something, and if you fail once, you have to start all over.
Okay.
And so the idea is that you build up a bank of days, and you look at that bank of days, and you think about your cheat, and you go, it's not necessarily something I want to try. So I think that'll help.
I listened to that guy's podcast that Andy Frisella. I listened to him who started the 75 hard.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And that usually involves more like exercise and all sorts of things. And I'm already exercising, but I just wanted to get off of this. What usually happens, it's Sunday night, it's time to sit with my boys and play video games, and the food is right there, and we're playing video games, and I'm just chowing down. And so I'll say, okay, you know what? No, we're gonna cut that out because that's a bad habit. So that's where we're at.
So to do the 75 hard, are you doing all of it or
No,
Okay, well then I guess by his standards, you're not doing 75
I'm
hard then.
not doing.
Okay.
I'm calling it my own 75 modified. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that in there before somebody else was like, he's not actually doing 75
Yeah,
hard.
exactly. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Not really.
Just get
Not really.
get ahead of it. So, all right, cool. Well, I don't know. We'll just go across the top row. Jeremy, what's up?
Personal event. There's a cat back here. I didn't know they were inside. Scared the crap out of me. Personal event. A couple of them. We have baby chicks. They're a week and a half, a little over a week old. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
What
What breed?
Then mutts.
All right. I didn't know if you went with something specific or.
I'm sorry.
No,
what
we're
did you
not.
say?
We're not mutts. We're not that advanced and sophisticated around
What
here.
is the mutt?
Just whatever.
Baby chicks.
Crossover.
Okay, cool.
And then my company got bought out, so this week's been a crazy busy week. So I went from working for a company of 100 to one of the 500 largest companies in the world. So that's a bit of
Cool.
an adjustment.
Nice.
Bit of an
I
adjustment.
bet it.
So
I bet customer care and customer quality is just going to skyrocket, right? Now that the two companies.
I mean,
Let
they
us
bought
know.
us because of what we did. They liked what we did. So the idea is that they're going to leave us alone, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
You only got 3 years, so
Yeah, hopefully longer than that.
I don't know what
Hopefully
that
longer than
means.
I thought you.
What-
wanted
I'll
to-
fill you. I'll fill you in later.
All right. Sounds good. Oh, he's retiring. Got it. Grant.
No, I'm not.
Me, I
Yeah.
had quite a busy week last week. Several things. I was forced into getting ducks. I now have ducks.
You were forced into getting ducks.
Yes, someone wanted ducks. I was buying chicks at Tractor Supply, re-upping because I had another.
Re-upping.
I had another round hatch out, and so I needed to re-up on hens because I don't want to take the 50-50 chance for the roosters. And so we're there, and she's like, "Oh, ducks, they're so cute." So it's like, "Look, if you buy them, I'll keep them alive." So she did, and then
Gosh.
I got
I
awarded.
was going to say, are you actually using them as bait for your neighbor's dogs?
No. I ended up getting another scholarship from school. So tomorrow I have to go take pictures with the foundation. And then that afternoon I was proposed on running basically like a vegetable production farm for someone, setting it up and running it. And then my great grandmother's property got surveyed last week. We're waiting for the plot, so then it can be appraised, and then we can know if we can get it. So yeah, it's been a week.
When you mentioned proposed, I was like, was your girlfriend tired of waiting for you to propose? And so like, she did it.
No.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
No.
Well, cool, dude. Congrats on the grant. Grant
Yeah.
got a grant.
Grant got a grant.
Or a scholarship. I think it's
What?
technically a scholarship.
If it's issued by the school, yeah, I guess so. It doesn't sound as neat. Grant, not Grant. Drake.
Yeah.
Drake, welcome to the club.
Welcome. First off, where are you? I know where you are, but nobody else does.
Yeah. Hi there. Thanks for having me. Am I coming through okay? I was having trouble
Yep.
there earlier.
Welcome.
Yep, I'm gonna boost your mic settings, but go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm
Oh. You boosted his mic setting. No, you turned his mic settings off, man.
No, I didn't. Go ahead, Drake. What? No, it doesn't work.
no. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yes.
There he is.
Okay.
I'll chase it back.
I'm just off the North Shore Lake Erie and on a little 50-acre parcel where we graze and have silvopasture and woodlots and such. And but I'm an American in Canada. I've spent most of my life in Iowa, in central Iowa, and that's where I got started. We just came to this place. We're now on. This is our 9th summer here.
Sweet.
So how do you like Canada? Hey.
Yeah, well, my answers were different before COVID in Ontario. Ontario was terrible, and other than the fact that sort of our homestead life kept us resilient to most things, or like impervious, and we just had lamb barbecues anyhow, back behind the house. But a lot of people suffered, and I may never forgive Ontario for that. So we came here, and I probably would have had my citizenship by now, but after the last few years, I'm happy to just be a permanent resident, and we can leave it at that for now.
Sure.
I don't feel super allegiant to the federal government.
I
Super
declare,
allegiant to
I
any
demand to
federal
be a
government.
citizen of your country. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, we like it here. It's great. We're happy to be here.
So, personal event then.
Yeah, I sort of missed that beginning of the introduction, but I just caught it, like personal event of the week. Yeah, we've got new chicks in the brooder too. Our last batch of the year. I'm having a super ton of fun moving our sheep through our prairie pastures, like to the point where I can't even actually find them the last 2 days. But I hear sounds of them, and I sort of circle their sounds, and they sound content, and so we let them be. But it's they're just lost in this forest of grass. It's quite amazing.
That's
So,
so awesome.
It's fun. It's maybe not the most efficient, but certainly something the land needs there. And it's like stalking sheep with the livestock guardian dog. It's pretty fun.
How many head?
There's about 40 on the farm right now. Sort of like 15.
Tottens, right?
Yes. Yep.
Nice. Awesome. Well, welcome.
Super fun. Thank you guys for having me. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah, glad to have you here.
So, this past weekend, a couple of updates. So we got my son a bunk bed, and he's like, "Why do I have a bunk bed?" And my wife's like, "Well, so you can have sleepovers with your friends." And he goes, "Can Daddy sleep over?" And so my son and I had a sleepover Friday night. It was awesome. Stayed up late, had popcorn,
And
drank some juice.
Remind us how old he is.
3.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, and we watched the Jungle Book, and then yeah. Another one was I went to go pick up some like little water barrels because I'm redoing the chicken water system. And the guy turns out to be a real estate agent. He's like, hey, by the way, swing by this property. If he had a garden, I would interview this dude. He's like got one of those like personalities and like energy levels that it just like it'd be really fun. But he doesn't. So anyways, so he's like, go to this apricot tree over here, just like this property. And so like my son and I were like picking apricots. And then my wife like canned them. We tried to help her, but the kids were kind of everywhere. So I was wrangling kids where my wife was canning apricots. And then yesterday I got a little bit further on the railroad tie like stairs that I'm building up the side of the house. So more throwing a rock pick in
You've
the
been
ground.
working on that project for like 3 years, right?
I mean, so I finished the rock wall. I'm pointing to like the side of the house that it's on. And then the other side, I need stairs. So like my first
Got it.
iteration was that I dug down a little bit and just like threw down a bunch of rocks to let rain kind of
Erosion,
drain.
sure.
It worked, except that weeds just like grew right through it. Obviously, because I didn't put anything down. And like it got real slick in the winter. So like snow would come up in there. And so when I had the Mini X last summer, I dug down, buried a bunch of rock, threw down cardboard, and then put dirt on top of that. Now I'm also doing weed block in between. Like I've got like this little design going. I'll show pictures and video like when I'm all done with it and stuff. I'm going to be able to run a wheelbarrow up and down it because we're going to plant. Jeremy's cat.
You got two of them up there now.
So
I
we're
deal
gonna-
with this
we're gonna
all day
plant-
while I
plant
sit here
more
and try to
up
work.
there. So
It
Anyways.
drives me nuts.
those are my updates. It's a good weekend, and I have a desk.
And did you enjoy the time off you get in the family time?
I did.
Yeah.
It's been really good. Yeah.
Refreshing.
It helps if you throw your phone in the garbage disposal too. That helps too. So, Nightmare Fuel. Scott's not here, which I'm kind of disappointed about because I sent out this email. What keeps you up at night? Like what are you bothered by? And he said something along. I should pull this up so I could properly quote him and not put words in his mouth. He said something about the CBDCs and something else. Not prepared, which is funny because he always talks about how it's gone. I don't know what happened in that email. He always talks about like circle of control, circle of influence, and circle of concern. And so like this, if the CBDC, central bank
CBDCs.
digital currencies, are coming anyways, all you can
Okay.
do is like work on your circle of control. So I'd like to hear him answer to that, but he's not here. So I don't know. That is not really a concern of mine other than, so we changed banks, right? We're getting away from Wells Fargo because they're made of the devil.
And
and so we're kind of we're restructuring our finances, and like this bank that we went with has a lot of like nice tools online. Cool. But like, so we're integrating a bunch of stuff just through them. What
Did you go with the
happens?
credit union?
No,
Um,
they're not immune from all the corruptness either. So it's kind of like,
If you can
What
find you
devil do
a
you pick?
small regional or state specific credit union, you've got a better,
maybe.
a little bit. Like we bank
my
at
point is,
a credit union.
it's like, what happens if that gets turned off, or they turn all your dollars into Fed bucks or whatever? Like, oh crap. So now I'm also like having to come up with like a redundant system. Okay, if all this gets turned off, how do I pay bills for the next month or two if everything's over here? So that's one of the things that keeps me up.
That's in line with the CBDCs though. I mean, what you said didn't.
A little bit. I mean, let's take CBDCs out, right?
Okay.
They could. I mean, let's say they found a tweet of mine that they didn't like. They could just like freeze my account.
Yeah, social
You don't
credit
need,
score.
yeah, you don't need CBDCs for that.
No.
So
That was very real for us here because during the trucker protest in
which was so awesome.
2021,
It
it was
really was.
awesome.
Oh, my bank's account's frozen because of that comment.
Yeah, it was
Right.
the most American thing Canadian could do.
It was, yeah, exactly. It was great. Our town was a big hub of that. Elmer, Ontario was kind of a lightning rod for all of those things. We have real fiery pastors, one of which happens to be my neighbor, and so there's lots of fire here around that. But there is the Give Sin Go, no, the GoFundMe, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
That whole list was doxxed, and then and they were freezing people's bank accounts for simply having been on that, or at least if you were more active. And they did. Some people had their bank accounts frozen for a long duration of time. And we were on the list, on the docs list too. And
how do they get away with that though? Like what?
No, it's crazy. I can't even begin to explain it. I mean, not only it was doxed, like, essentially stolen information, and then suddenly the RCMP has it, and they're giving it to the banks, and basically with no, just telling the banks to do with it what they would. And some people froze it right away. And we were slightly more isolated because we have a smaller credit union here, which we just switched out of like the big TD, Toronto Dominion, which is like when, my wife had banked for all of her life. She's Canadian. And
sorry, y'all. One of my employees just found my TikTok channel. He just texted me the link to it. Son of a gun.
-1 participation points, Jeremy.
Let's see. It's going to go on your social credit score.
Yeah, you're going to have your own farm hop.
Listen,
I've tried.
If we have social credit scores, I'm going to have to stop showing up here.
I've tried to like
finally
keep, like the people that I work with.
You keep inviting me.
I've tried to like keep the people that I work with from finding my TikTok page, and he found it. So he just texted me like, just block him. Sorry.
No. If he only sees it once, he might forget.
So we had this conversation today with this about the CBDCs. My buddy asked me, what we're going to do? We're going to use this CBDCs, and I told him, I said, you're definitely going to use it if you need to pay your property tax. You're going to have to use it. And I said I would probably use the initial, because we saw this pattern with COVID. It's the carrot and the stick. They're going to come after you with the carrot, which is, get this app and you'll get, I don't know, $5,000, or get this app and each one of your previous dollars will be worth 10 new dollars, some way of luring people in to start to use it. And so I want to take any of those extra funds that we do get with those and start to use those to pay down our debts and things like that.
Does that keep you up at night though?
Does that keep me up at night? Well, it did. And I just sort of took a step back and asked myself, what would I do? Because like you said, it's in a circle of concern. It's not an item I can have any control over. And so, just being preparedness minded, I started to think about the ways to cope with that and mitigate that, and start to work around the system instead of complaining. Because a realist is somebody who lives in the world that actually exists. It is what it is. I saw that in an article this week. They said that people who say it is what it is are better able to cope with life and just accept that this is what it is, and how do we deal with it? We can argue and scream about the way it should be, but it is what it is. So
that's a fine line though, right? Like, just say it is what it is and just like roll over, or it is what it is, and then do something.
It is what it is in the circle of concern. In the things that are in the circle of my influence, then take action. Yeah,
fair enough.
Maybe talk to, but it's in this circle of concern. They're going to do it.
So what keeps you up at night then, Christopher?
Well, job loss. This fatigue that I'm nearly over was a big worry for a long time, and thinking about increased crime, and what would that do to our neighborhood? So just the way I've coped with that has been to, one, be preparedness minded and start to think about, okay, I could use this tool. I could use this tool. I could hold them off this way, or I could hold them off that way. And then I read a book a long time ago, like 15 years ago. It's called Trusting God. And that really is my pillow that I sleep on at night. It just, at the end of the day, someone could still come break in. At the end of the day, I could still lose my job. At the end of the day, CBDCs could still lock me out of my money. At the end of the day, all these copes and workarounds that you come up with can still be gotten through. And so I just have to simply rest and trust, because worrying, that a lot of the Bible talked about worrying, and worrying just never gets you anywhere. So
You touched on somebody breaking in.
Yeah.
And something that I've been seeing a lot of lately in rural communities is farm stands getting robbed, like either of money or product.
Huh.
My wife follows a local one that sells flowers and soap out of their farm stand, out by the driveway. They stole flowers and soap.
Wow.
And so I'm trying to we're talking about it last night. I'm like, I don't know if they're trying to if normally people have something to gain by stealing something, like monetary value. And sometimes it's just to be destructive. So which one is it here? Because it doesn't make sense, but it makes me, we don't have a farm stand. We don't have that much to sell, but
it really gives me hope, for in the future when I have enough produce to have a farm stand. It really gives me, faith in people to, support that.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
So is crime, because I live in a rural area, is crime spreading to more rural areas, or is it just being seen more? I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe both.
It's something that keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
But it could have been that just particular stand met a very not kind person.
One is an isolated incident. 2 starts a pattern, and 3 makes you raise an eyebrow. So
Has that farm stand been robbed more than once?
That particular one, no, but I did interview a guy about 20 minutes from me. His has been robbed multiple times. Yes.
Huh.
Goodness.
Wow.
But think of 10 years ago, you didn't have the social media like we have now, the awareness, it wasn't front and center. So maybe it's not so much that it's happening more, that we're seeing it more, like you said.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's the answer, but I lean on that for a lot of things. When we start seeing more and more craziness in this world, it's because we see more and more craziness in the world because of social media. The world's always been crazy. There's always been corrupt people.
Yeah.
Like those UFO hearings, everyone was like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Nobody gave a crap that someone testified under oath that we found non-human remains. We're like, it's fake news anyways. Nobody cared.
Yeah, well, nobody cared. I saw this meme. I can't remember exactly which. Christopher, you may know this, but I saw this meme that was when they tell you it's aliens, it's not. And it quoted a Bible verse. Basically, it's when half the population, or when a tenth of the population just vanishes and disappears, it's not aliens. Right. But they're setting the stage to show it's aliens.
Yeah.
Like 2 Thessalonians or something, basically talking about the rapture.
And, yeah.
But I thought that's pretty funny. It's I don't believe that there's aliens. I'm intrigued by
anywhere or here.
I could
here
go with
anywhere,
but I would say anywhere. I
could go with the aliens that we're talking about today are multiple possibilities. It doesn't have to be just one. There could be people on another planet, but there also could be government cover up. But there also could be government secret projects. Things are flying around in holograms. It could be most of
the Blue Beam Project. Blue Beam, is that what it's called?
Blue Beam,
something like that. Yeah. Now, is it sophisticated enough to project UFOs in the sky? I don't know, but
a good way to see people.
What are we talking about?
Jeremy, what keeps you up at night?
Acid reflux.
Yes, I agree. I agree with him more than
You
anything
gotta
else.
fix your diet, dude.
It's the alcohol. If I
Yeah.
drink a couple beers, it gets me every time. Wheat, gluten, every one of those things gets me. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm joking about the keep me up at night. You know, I don't know.
Carnivore.
Dude, I want to so bad, but I've got to produce my own meat.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that we've talked about. My job doesn't really keep me up at night. There's deadlines that I have to meet with my work. In fact, one of them's been this week, and that actually, ironically, has kept me up. You know, the last week and a half. But for the most part, not the job. It's what the future holds for not so much me, but like my son. You know, we had a conversation. My son turns 10 this year. So about 12 years ago, we had a conversation. Do we want to even bring a child into this world? And if we were having that conversation today, and back then we said, yeah, life's crazy. This world's crazy. But, you know, why would we rob a child of life? Why would we rob ourselves of the joy of having a child? But if we had that conversation today, it would be a much more serious conversation.
You remember the
like-
beginning of
But then again, like back to what I said earlier, is that the world's always been crazy. There's always been corrupt people and corrupt governments, and it's just we see more of it now. So I don't. I worry about what his future looks like. Stuff like CBDCs, solar flares, stuff that really sets us back. You know, generations. That's the stuff that kind of worries me, because it's like life. What's the saying that strong men create good times, good times create weak men create
Hard
times.
hard times create strong men, something like, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are a weak society.
Oh
in
yeah.
general. We are a weak society, and that worries me. And it's not even so much me and my family surviving something like that. It's the hundreds of people that are in surrounding neighborhoods.
Yeah.
When those people come knocking at your door.
It's your community.
Yeah.
And I might be crazy for
So
thinking
50 acres in Canada, that actually doesn't sound so bad.
Yes, I would have to agree.
Minus the cold in the Canadian part.
Well, that's
but
the cold keeps people out.
Well, do you have a solar fan that could make heat instead
Oh
of?
man, that would be no.
I'm gonna make you one.
He's
I
just
got
gonna
plenty of-
burn you.
It's like called a heater hat.
Heater hat.
Heater hat.
The heater hat.
It's
just a
already,
hat.
they already make one. You just put a cast iron skillet on your head after you cook. That'd be a pretty hot hat.
It's nice. I'm in the banana belt here, so it's we're sort of like horticulture zone 6. It's not
Please
much.
tell me the banana belt means
No.
you can grow bananas.
No, not nearly. We
Oh.
just, in the Niagara region, they're even slightly more, and so they're like they escape some of the frost the way they're sort of out on Isthmus, and they're growing all the peaches and stuff. But to me, Canada always feels north, but I come from Iowa, and actually, I'm from where I moved. I moved 2 hours north and 12 hours east, and so I'm like right on level with Detroit, basically where I am, and the lake keeps us buffered as well. So it's we didn't get the heat that you guys got either. Like sort of the lake kept it down for us. It's pretty nice.
hot down here.
Yeah.
Like it can be 84 here, and it feels like it's 120 because of the humidity.
Yeah.
And we definitely get the humidity here. It rolls in, but nothing like, I can't even tell people back home that it's hot, because anytime that it's like, we get heat warnings here and it's 85, and I tell my brother in Iowa, it's like,
But
He
on the
laughs
flip
in
side of that,
Floridian.
though, like we don't get snow down here. It doesn't really get that cold.
no. And we actually get less and less here in this area. Like there's hardly not enough to like own a pair of cross country skis, and it's turning into like more, February mud season.
Oh wow.
But
But it's still
again,
cold though, right? Like
there's cold times. It gets,
Okay.
You said north side of Lake Erie?
north side of Erie. Yep.
Yeah, you're. I'm way more north than you are.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like all of Minnesota's north of us.
I
So
would
it's-
have. I mean, just going off memory, I would have thought Drake. I'd have thought you were more north than Matt.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
And Ontario's so crazy and huge too. I'm learning that I'm here. I mean, half of Ontario is north of him, and I'm sort of just down low. But so it's nestled in. It feels, it's Midwestern for sure. Not to open that can of worms that's been going around, but we're definitely in the Midwest.
So
Right.
let's keep going around. Grant, what keeps you up at night?
Other than the fact that
His
I don't close
ducks.
my eyes and go to sleep, nothing really. So what Jeremy had said, the big things that set us back technologically. I don't know. I may be foolish to say this, but those instances slightly excite me. I mean, I'm 22. I'm 22. If the world falls apart, I still have a whole life I can still mold from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll
I
probably
think-
be fine if you keep your mouth shut.
Well,
Then he won't be fine.
yeah.
But all right. So Grant, I'll agree with you to an extent there. Those situations are exciting to an extent if they would only last for like a week. And
Yeah.
then life could go back to normal. Like
Could be
that's
a whole
the
lot of dead people in
it's-
a week.
well, I mean, but like we could reset and everybody was back alive. I mean,
Like a
it's
great
just,
reset.
Nope.
The
Shut
greatest.
up, man. The greatest of resets. That's right.
I remember those days of being early prepper, and like, you kind of want escape from the boredom of your life. And then I came to realize it's really nice being able to go to the grocery store without worrying about a sniper. I mean, it really
Yeah.
it's really nice.
That and ice. What gets
Yeah.
me
And
every
ice.
single time in any of it is ice. That's the one thing that gets me in all of this is
Sure.
ice. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
finally
drinking me a cold
having-
glass sweet tea right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I need ice.
I need air conditioning.
Drake's just laughing. What do you worry about, Drake? Like, you just worry about your cows getting out when you're sleeping, or
That too. Yeah.
Hey, now he's worried.
One thing too, thinking about this question when you emailed it out, is I actually have I feel like I'm well on my sort of journey of not worrying. Like I certainly used to be more of a worrier, but I'm, we've extracted ourselves quite a bit, and myself especially, that my sole work is on the farm. So it's like a lot of time on the land, and done some other like self-cultivation practices, Tai Chi and stuff that I've really taken up with time on the farm. And so I do feel like when I lay down, I go to sleep. And so nothing really keeps me up in those ways, but I certainly have worries. And I think all the things that you guys are talking about, some of them the more directly ecological, water and soil loss even worries me more, because I think we oftentimes get swept into this like, oh, technology and energy are going to be the things that, propel us into the future. And then, soil is going to bring collapse of society, soil loss or contamination.
When we did our
No
first
bees.
our first class in the horticulture program, our teacher just kind of glossed over within like 5 minutes just the whole, completely just destruction of our soils. All like how fertile they were back then, how much of that is actually left now. I'm like, and then I'm at the store yesterday at Tractor Supply listening to this guy talk about, I know what chemicals to spray and what, I know what lime is, and I know what, it's like, you're farming wrong, man.
Yeah.
It's
spraying.
too many
it's
inputs?
your back. Yes, you won't know input other than organic input, and
And we don't, yeah.
it's like then the whole, like you said, the whole water thing. Most people don't even pay attention to what's going on with water rights, specifically out west, and the federal government's goal for water rights in like 2050. It's scary.
Yeah. Water rights, contamination, it's so those things. There's an Aldo Leopold writer like in the 50s. He's got a saying, and I'm trained as an ecologist, and he has one of his sayings is one of the penalties of ecological education is that you live alone in a world of wounds. And I feel like this is just like ratcheting down more and more, right? And there's tipping points that we don't understand that may have already been triggered, but then also just like, who the fuck knows what DuPont comes out with next week as a fungicide that then like kills all the soil. Like, oh, sorry. Or Bill Gates or whoever it is, like these things that we're putting into the world.
And you
not
look
to-
at the train derailment up in East Palestine, Ohio. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Anything.
the Ohio River feeds into. I mean, so much of our food, soil that our food is grown in, is contaminated.
Oh,
the
well,
water.
And
And here for sure, we're like up, we're the south winds from Ohio and all of like industrialization, all the Rust Belt, which we're in the Rust Belt too, car factories everywhere, but like all that smoke is coming right up through here. So there's like no escaping that. But then I think with the terms of the idea of just like, sleeping at night, it's just one of those things is I feel like you gotta sleep. Our best hope is to probably like raise the higher consciousness anyhow. So to be calm and to be holding our own within our own minds is like going to be important to sort of bringing good change as well. And then also like, it is true, fuck it. Tomorrow we may be hiding from snipers or being like going into the woods.
But then you just got to deal with it. There's nothing you can do about it.
You're just going to do. Yeah. Also, I'm a big Tool fan. So like, it's like
Learn to swim.
Well, learn to swim and just like, but one that really speaks to me is just, reach out and embrace the random. Like we're just gonna like, let's live this life. We could be peaceful now. And then when it's like time to fight, we'll just like, that'll be tomorrow and it's going to be different and probably suck. But right now,
when you said reach out to the random, talk to everyone. If you're standing at Lowe's and somebody, talk to him. I ended up talking to this guy. He was he's an Army vet. And he comes to Lowe's to the clearance to get plants, and then on top of that, he gets a military discount. I mean, I wasn't speaking to him. I was talking to Destiny about a bunch of stuff they have on sale, and it's like, we were looking at it, and then he's like, and he butted in, and then he was looking for something, and I ended up talking to him for maybe 30 minutes, out of nowhere, and then developed a very good contact. And on top of that, it's not just that, it's landscapers I've come into contact with. And then this one lady who I was actually there today, I ended up digging up maybe 9 or 10 plum trees that basically suckered up. And I gave her 3 figs in exchange.
Sometimes I don't feel like talking to anybody, so it's kind of hard for me to talk to everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I have way too much to say, so I try to talk to everyone, and then make
this person's like, man, I wish this kid would stop talking to me.
most of the times I don't even start the conversations; I just continue them.
You got a face that people want to talk to.
Yeah.
Welcome, John.
Hey,
Yeah,
John.
sorry I'm late.
That's fine. I'm sure you're busy.
My freezer is not working.
That'll keep you up.
Yeah, that'll keep me up. It's an old reclaimed Bluebell freezer truck, and fortunately it has 2 compressors on it. I got one of them working, so I think I won't have a total loss. But I got to figure. I mean, it's 110 degrees outside here during the daytime, so I got to get the other one up and running. Because right now it's hovering at about 22 degrees. So,
yeah, you don't look as relaxed as usual. Normally, you're in your nice, comfy chair, and you're like, "Let me tell you, let me tell you about."
It's been a heck of a week. Oh, and actually the week started. I was hauling calves off to move them to a different property because we're out of grass, and I left apparently I didn't put the pin in the trailer door, and I'm pulling out of my driveway, and there's 3 calves standing in the middle of the road.
I read that.
Yeah. So shit happens, huh?
Yeah. So what's got you up these days then?
Oh, well, my freezer is always something of pressing issues. It's been very reliable. But yeah, power, I've got probably tens of thousands of dollars of meat in the freezer. Maybe not, about 10,000 at least. Anyway, so We live on a road that a fairly busy road, and so the thought of cattle getting out for whatever stupid reason, like leaving the gate open or what have you, that's always fun. Yeah, those are probably the big ones.
If the heat is getting to you, I think Jeremy could sell you a hat. He's got a special hat for
Solar powered fan
guys
hat.
like
Come
you.
on, man. Don't
Oh
knock it.
yeah, well that's pretty smart. Actually, been a real lifesaver at the farmers market having those misters, the fans with the that atomize the water. They're phenomenal. They do a great job at dropping the air temperature.
I think I saw Cobalt makes one.
Yeah, that's what
actually.
we have is a Cobalt. Yeah, I think
Nice.
Ryobi makes some. They're pretty prevalent now. But if you guys ever do any, markets or any work outdoors where the breeze isn't too extreme, they really lower the air temperature, probably 10 degrees.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So another thing that I posted today on Twitter was something that keeps me up at night. So I think everybody here, Drake, you have one son,
A
right?
daughter.
A daughter. I think everybody except Grant has kids. One thing I posted was like something that keeps me up is Child Protective Services just taking your kids away because they can.
We had that threat.
What?
Yeah.
Story time.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife's her family, her dad's sister made that threat. Baseless, entirely baseless, because she was angry at my wife's mom. And so we had to have a lawyer write up, do not pursue this letter, and we installed cameras and microphones in case the police came, and that was a headache. That kept us up at night.
That just would give me murderous thoughts.
Dude, right? When it comes to children, how can you not just like, you're not
Yes.
taking my kids.
Yeah.
You're
I
going to
agree.
leave, or I'm going to
100%.
make you leave.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, I know you can't do that, but you
I
should
have
be
some
able to do
friends-
that.
Well, I have some very close friends that it's happened to, and I can't tell you the story because of ongoing investigations, but it's legit. Like, you are powerless. You are powerless against our government.
Yeah.
Dude, Chicken Whisperer. So I sent that out, and Chicken Whisperer is like, I DM'd you. And so I read like his message, and like he's had to deal with this a couple times.
Wow.
My wife was telling me about this story that I can't remember the situation. Their kid went to the hospital, and the one of the nurses noticed something, and the doctor called CPS, and so like they had their kids taken away, and like through a bunch of like battling, they got their kids back, and like the doctor is now like under investigation or whatever. But like, how many times has he gotten away with that before? Because that's not his first time.
Yeah.
My biggest worry there is it might be a mistake that's resolved in 2 days, but I already shot the guy on my doorstep.
Yeah.
I don't think anything with the government gets resolved in 2 days, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
Just go live, somewhere else. Just up and move under a bridge somewhere. I don't know, because they know you live.
Yeah.
Well, it all ties back into this sort of social credit score conversation earlier, and I mean that's where that goes too in China, as people are getting picked off the road in vans. And in Ontario it wasn't too there during COVID here, but it was I knew people that if you were quarantined, they were sending people to your house to check on you, and some people were having like you don't know if it's the Amazon van or the whatever government surveillance.
We're gonna abduct you, man.
That's why you got security cameras, and you don't open the door unless you know who it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come back with some papers.
Right.
So
yeah,
the last thing that I had messaged about was like, how can I get what I want out of life with my family without having a regular 9-to-5 job? That's something that keeps me up at night. So like, because if I have a job, I'm physically away from my family, and I don't like that. So I'm constantly trying to figure out next steps to like, how can I be here and around them
Work from home.
more?
Well, and it's different for you because you have to travel now.
Yes.
It's harder. For
Yep.
me, I mean, I work from home. So like during the summer, like my son's here and I'm here, and I'm working, he's upstairs, but we see each other day in and day out during the summer. Now he starts back school next in 2 days. But I used to travel a lot more, and that's with the acquisition that I mentioned earlier, like that's like going to come to a stop. So that's going to be nice. Yeah. But there's, do you try to find another means of income that could be passive, or, in like some of you guys instances, you probably have family farms where your family can work with you. I don't know, John. I mean, does your family work with you?
So all my kids are grown and out of the house. Actually, I have 2 grandkids and another due next week.
Nice.
And so,
Congrats.
so I come at this with a different perspective, only because such a reality as you're describing was really not even conceivable when I was a young parent, right? Because it was just the advent of the internet, right? There was no such thing as working home. And so, people actually went to work all the time. But I can relate in that it was the advent of the 2-income family. And so it kind of comes to like, what kind of sacrifices are you willing to make so that so at least one of the 2 of you could stay home with the kids, as opposed to pawning them off into childcare, or what we homeschooled for a while as well, right? So what can you do as a man, as a provider, to make the best of the situation, whatever the situation may be? And maybe you can't get all the way there, right, to where you're staying home with your family. And I wouldn't beat yourself up over that. And sometimes too, it's a matter of a short-term sacrifice for a longer-term gain, right? And so if it's a matter of you working a particular job where you have to travel a lot so that you can, put some things in the bank, or to set up an establishment that or a career plan that enables you to perhaps in the future spend more time with your kids. There's no right answer, right? But I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it, because I think you can still provide a stellar home environment for your kids, which you're obviously doing. And I applaud you for that. Take it easy on yourself. But, again, strive for perfection, but don't beat yourself up because you can't get there.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't beat myself up. It's just something like I'm trying to like, how do I get there?
You're just trying to figure out the answer to your question. Like, for me,
it's like trying to do math in bed. It sucks.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I guess keeps me up at night, is continuing to put together the odds and ends and pieces to what will be my business plan when I hopefully start, this November, building a nursery, building some type of, market garden on top of that, small scale meat production. All 3 of those things, they don't consume all of your time consistently. Each one will require you to have more input at different times, so you can really kind of separate it. But all of those things put together will give me enough an income on the first year, even if I only produce about half production and I have a really bad year. It's still more than I would make at an entry-level job anywhere I can find at the moment.
Sure. And that's kind of what I'm coming to too, is like lots of little revenue streams instead of like one big one that replaces the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because having 6 or 7 lined up that I already do, that can be reasonably accomplished within the first year, will sit me at around $65,000, and that is after everything's taken out, and that is with very low production numbers to keep it realistic.
Yeah, but be careful too, because you could be working at home and working your ass off and never get a chance to spend any time with your kids or be all
True.
stressed
Yeah,
out
and-
about your finances and things like that.
Bingo.
Trying to again achieve something that it's not really reaching your end goal, which is to raise a good family or what have you, because you put yourself inside between a rock and a hard place, and you just make matters worse that way. I'm not advocating one way or the other. I'm just cautioning.
There is, because it's still a full-time job because you have.
Well, you're talking about 7 of them, so.
Well, yeah.
So that's
7,
a lot.
I guess 7 part-time jobs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
There's a story of, and I'm gonna butcher the story, but you guys will get the idea of it. But there's a guy that's fishing off a pier, and some businessman comes up to him and is like, "Hey, you should expand on this and make this bigger and blah 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 whatever." And he's like, "Why would I do that?" Yeah, because then you could buy more food for your family, and you could do this and you could do that. And in the end, it comes back around to, well, why would I do all that? Well, so that you can sit on a pier and fish. That's what I'm doing right now. Like, just enjoy life that you have now. It's more than that, but I mean, it's you get the point. Like, but I'm guilty of that. I mean, like, I do the whole TikTok thing. I've got a full-time job. Then I do the whole TikTok and social media thing, and I'm guilty of filling up my time, even though I work at home.
The kids will take a lot of your time too. Wait till they get into like junior high and sports and dance and karate and all that stuff. It's just, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's more important than to some people. And like you said, John, you have to. Everyone has to weigh their own choices
balance,
in life. Right? But is it? What's more important, having your kids spend all your time, or trying to spend it building 10 different revenue streams so that you can be financially free, so that you can then spend more time with your kids?
Yeah.
I try to make them a part of what I'm doing all the time.
That's
All
good.
the time.
Well,
I'm
and so
out there throwing that rock pick thing. Like, I'm building those steps. My kids are out there with me. Like, they might not be like helping or actually hindering progress, but they're out there with me. So like, daddy's out here working. Like, hey, daddy, can I blah, 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 blah. Like, yes or no. Or, hey, can you move this, pick this up? Like, hey,
wait till they get to about
blah, blah, blah.
like 8 to 10. And they go, hey, I want to go inside and play video games because it's cooler inside, and it's too hot out here.
Yeah, my brother pulled that trick and he was like 4. And so it was just me and my dad outside doing yard work all the time.
Oh, dang.
I finally got my son to the age this year where he's cutting the grass, and it's like, yes, I'll be out there with you. There's plenty of things that I can do in the yard too, but you're out here with me. He doesn't like it. He does not like it at all.
And that's one
I
thing
like
I'll
it.
kind of take Jeremy and Matt's and then John's kind of response is, with all these things, the nursery production is going to be more of the main business, but then everything else is also going to be our own food and stuff like that to supplement everything, which is going to be a big part of that, is to get my future kids involved with where their food comes from.
Yeah, I would just caution, don't ever take parental advice from me. So.
No, it's true.
I don't know. What's wrong with your kids that we wouldn't do that?
I probably could have done better.
I mean,
We all
isn't
could.
that what all dads say? Like,
Sure.
there's always
Yeah.
something.
Sure. I don't know. Again, it's I mean, I applaud the notion, but I certainly wouldn't criticize anybody who maintained a 9-to-5 job, who worked their ass off to provide what they believe to be the right thing for their family. You look at great men throughout history, and I say great men that history recognizes as great men, right? They typically had really shitty lives with their families because they were completely dedicated to whatever it was that they were doing.
Like Hamilton.
I was going to say like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But again, even if you look at like some of the great preachers, even of our time, right? Their kids will tell you that, it sucked having him as a dad, right? Because he was always taking care of everybody else's family as opposed to our family. Yeah, I don't know. I think we need those kinds of people. I wouldn't want to be one of their kids. But again, I I caution against criticizing. I don't want to have anything disparaging to say about anybody else because, like I said, I could have certainly done a much better job.
Sure. And you weren't there, and you weren't them. You don't know what you would have done. Yeah. I can.
And
understand
there's different stages of your life as well, and so don't get married to the idea just for the idea itself. So things change.
That is true. That's true. Does anybody have anything else that they want to?
Oh, I have one theory for you guys too. While we're talking about kids,
Sure.
You only have until they're about 10 years old. So if you haven't taught your kid what you want to teach him by the time he's 10, as Jeremy said, right? There's lots of, and maybe nowadays that might even be 8 or 6. So just make sure that you take advantage of those first 10 years because after that you don't get another opportunity to influence.
No, you're
very
exactly
limited
right.
opportunity.
Well, and I've heard someone break it up into 4 segments, like that 0 to the birth to 4 years old is the discipline years. And if you don't get discipline down within the first 4 years, you're never going to get a hold of it. And then like 5 to 10 is your teaching years. So you're teaching. And then from like 11 until like 18 or 12 to 18 or whatever it is, that's your coaching years. Now you've got the discipline, you've taught them, and now you're coming along beside them and coaching them through life, through their teenage years, through the difficult years. And then 18 plus, those are your friend years. Those are the years that you can be the friends with your kids, not when they're young. And that just always stuck with me. And I'm like, it makes perfect sense.
It sounds nice.
Now it's hard. Yeah. But I mean, we try to live by that, as much as we can. I mean, the discipline was never really an issue. We took care of that one early on. We've never had much in the way of discipline. And I mean, we're still teaching. We're still teaching. He's 10. He turns 10 in a few weeks. And so it'll be interesting to kind of see like where it transitions maybe to that next stage of coaching the, junior high and high school age. I don't know.
Right.
I think it's more like modeling.
That may be a better way of saying it.
I think you'd be, you're an exceptional father if you're able to, and you have an exceptional relationship if you're still able to coach whenever, whenever that age where there's all of those other things, they start leaning more on their peer group.
Right.
And anyway, that's just been my experience.
No, I think that's a very valid statement. Yeah, very maybe even a better way to look at it.
All right, so we'll just cut ties with the outside world, and so I'm all he's got.
Yes, exactly. No phones and no internet.
There is nothing wrong with this plan. This will never backfire.
For the younger parents in the group that are just coming into that, there's a great book, Hold On to Your Child, Gabor Mate, and it talks about that, the pulls back and forth between peer groups and how sometimes, there's points where you may need to take an intervention. And, I think even he talks about, like, with his own daughter, it's like, okay, we're going to the Boundary Waters for a week because, where I'm about to lose you to your friends and you ain't coming back, sort of thing. Like, there's real leverage points there where, especially in this day, that book was written before social media, I'm sure. And I read it just when my daughter was young. And the pressures now and social media pressures, they're unbelievable. So I think it behooves you to at least know of the phenomenon and realize that you may have to, sort of that tough love.
I think part of the key is, in those early developmental years is to instill in them the wisdom as much as they can figure out, right? To choose the right peer groups and folks to interact with and model after. And that's about all you can do. And then just pray, because that's about the only control you have after society gets a hold of them, right? It becomes, because then you could be the bad guy then, right? Even though you're trying, right? They can perceive it one way.
They especially diverse school groups, if you're suddenly in, a graduating class of 500 people has every type of group to latch onto for sure.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, anything else, or should we wrap up?
Well, that's a depressing book to end up on.
The
not
one thing that I'd like to say comes to mind is
heavy.
one thing comes to my mind that I went I held on to when I was extremely worried about my future and about my health and everything. And I just thought about that where it says in the book of Nahum that the Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knows those who take refuge in him. So
I'll to bring it full circle, I think that is one of the things that probably keeps me up at night is losing your child, not physically, but to society and
Sure.
everything that you've poured into your child to see them turn away from
yeah,
and become a not good human, if you will.
yeah,
Jeremy, to speak on that, that's what we're going through with my sister right now. She's become a 360, or 180, a completely different person, and backed away from things that when she was 10, 12, 18, she was set in. And with the current cultural climate we have, and it can really get you at any age. It doesn't matter. I mean, even in your 20s, your mid 20s, it comes in fast. So I get that probably didn't make you feel any better. But
no, man, but you're right though. I mean, it's not something that it's not
always a battle.
None of us didn't know.
From watching my own father have to deal with it, it's tough because my sister not only hurt me, she hurt my parents. And then there's that struggle with having them feel like they didn't do enough when they treated us exactly the same and they couldn't have done anything better than what they did.
Yep.
Well, I guess like to add on to that, Grant, we did the episode, right? Under the Influencer. I don't remember what number it was, but people can go back and look. But like, we're always looking for something. Everybody is always looking for something. There's very few people out there that aren't looking for anything, that they're very content with where they're at, right? So like people get latched onto other people or ideas or movements or whatever. And so like that sucks them in for something. And so that becomes them now because it somehow had answers or false answers.
So,
that
some part of them got latched onto something and it engulfed them.
Yeah. So, man, that wasn't that fun.
I will add it.
You sucked the air out of the room.
Hey, I got my turkey poults this week, so that's
awesome. That's
all
awesome.
right.
Yeah, and they all survived the trip from Ohio. And
who do you get them from?
So
why Ohio?
That's where the hatchery is that I buy from.
What hatchery do you like to use?
I think it's Myers.
Okay.
Myers.
Oh,
hatchery.
okay.
Yeah. What breed of turkey do you like?
I go with the broad-breasted whites. I've tried the broad-breasted bronze before, but you can see like the pin feathers under the skin, right? And so it's got little like black or dark brown, what I would call blemishes, right? It's nothing that but cosmetically, it's not as attractive. So I go with the whites.
Okay.
All right, let's continue this after. Let's do a wrap up quick. All right, Christopher, what are you selling?
SecureCoop.com, working on a coop door opener with phone notifications. So when the coop opens, when the coop closes, it'll send you notifications. I've been working on that for a while, trying to get all the bugs out, doing beta testing right now. There is a website and the ebook on the website. There is a mailing list with a coupon as well as a coupon below. So you can combine those two together because I'm having a pre-sale and I'm Mario. And so hit it up at SecureCoop.com.
So distracting. Going solo is so distracting.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Sorry, it was too funny. We had to show off your funny background. All right, thank you, Jeremy. Go.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, somewhat on Twitter, on Threads. Whatever. I don't know. Just do we like donuts, chickens, gardening,
donuts,
chickens right now.
Actually, lack of donuts.
I don't eat. I love donuts. I'm not gonna lie. I really love donuts. But they don't love me. Like I get the reflux real bad. But that's it.
Good to know. All right, John, go ahead.
Yeah, John, Amber Oaks Ranch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and our website, amberoaksranch.com. Beef, pork, chicken, lamb.
You're near Austin.
Yeah, about 40 minutes outside of Austin.
Awesome. Thank you. Where is Mr. Too Busy? All right.
I'm not terribly too busy. Like, well, yeah, just I don't know.
You just got 7
Hopefully-
side hustles.
Hopefully, well, look, I'm
He
really
hasn't even said
reading.
his name or
My
anything
name's
about
Grant
him.
Payne.
Finish your plug. Finish your
My
plug.
name
Grant.
is Grant Payne. Keep up with me. Hopefully, within the next year, you'll be seeing a lot of content from me reclaiming the overgrown land that has been in my family for 3 generations. It'll be about 40-acre transformation, along with a business building aspect.
Excellent.
So
Yay.
that's what I've
Great.
been working on.
Thanks, Grant. Thanks, Homestead of Pain. All right.
I'm not
great.
appreciated here.
Yep, there it is. Silva Pastoris on Twitter. You could check out our farm at 3ridges.farm. We're mostly sold out, so I don't have much to offer you. But look, if you want to talk about trees or water, soil, drop me a line.
We always want to talk about trees, water, and soil.
Perfect.
All the
Never-
time.
Never not.
Right.
And I'm at farmhoplife.com. I do interviews and in-person tours coming more soon. And this men's forum every other Monday. So I think next time we have to vote on it. I want to do point of no return, but we'll take a vote.
Misspelled.
That's the point.
I like it.
It's a meme thingy.
Okay.
Don't be a
Keep
boomer
it
on
that
us,
way.
man.
All right.
No, seriously, keep it that way.
See you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining. Everybody
Go,
stay. Everybody stay. Thank you.